just like that, and then I can pull myself up the board if I need to, and I'm going to paddle.
Dan Westerkamp knows how the ocean is no match for even the strongest of swimmers. Last year he saw a struggling surfer stuck in a rip at Bethel's Beach and was able to bring them back safely to the shore.
There was someone out there, they obviously stayed in the shallows to start with, and then they got sucked out in the current. They couldn't get back in, they started panicking, they threw their board away and tried to swim in, which is definitely not the best thing to do when you've got a flotation device, but in a panicked state people do some crazy things. So I swam over to them, paddled over to them and helped them out and got them back in. It took about an hour paddling with them to get them back into the beach. Hey guys, welcome to the Surfers Rescue 24/7 course. My name's Dan. I'm super stoked that you guys are here today. I know the surf's pumping.
It's a scenario familiar with many surfers across the motu to help hone in their skills. Dan takes courses at different board riders clubs and surf lifesaving clubs. At no cost, surfers of all skill levels and ages can learn water rescue techniques and basic CPR skills. The course can be completed by people as young as 10. The courses are being run by Surfing New Zealand, with some funding help from Safer Boating, ACC and Foundation North. Dan's taking one at Aotearoa Beach. There are roughly 20 people here. He says on Auckland's west coast, the conditions can switch in an instant.
All the rescues that I've ever done have always been after hours when the lifeguards have gone home. Obviously they can't be there all night, and that's when most rescues do happen. So I've been a few out at Piha and on the west coast, Bethel's, just because of the conditions out there. They do change rapidly, and people that aren't confident or used to being out on the west coast do get into trouble fairly quickly.
Surfers are taught to protect their own safety first, by keeping their surfboard between themselves and who they're rescuing. They're shown how to rescue both conscious and unconscious people. Dan says at every course there are always surfers of all ages who have had experiences rescuing people across different breaks.
We've had surfers from all ages and abilities, right down from little kids all the way to surfers that have been surfing literally their whole lives, 50, 60 years, which is awesome. And we've had pros come and do the course as well, that do surfing for a job, and everyone just says it's awesome.
After the course, they're encouraged to keep their skills up, so if they do end up having to rescue someone, it's muscle memory. Surfer Christian Nicholson was recently part of a rescue out at Mangawhai Heads.
Someone had hit his head on the bottom of the ground and, coming off a wave, and he'd broken his neck, and there was a couple of us that had to try and get him in, and there's someone else that went and got the lifeguards, and I sort of realised at that point I really didn't know what was the right thing to do. We everyone did our best, but it was quite a traumatic situation, and that sort of thing can happen.
He says surfers are at all times a pair of eyes on people taking the waves.
If I'm in the surf and I can see someone that's swimming, I'll keep an eye on them, because I can see that they shouldn't be swimming there and they can barely swim, and I'll go and warn people if they're going into an area where there's a rip or something like that, because often, especially if they're tourists and not used to the ocean, anything can happen.
Kayla McGregor has been surfing for 6 years. During that time she hasn't had to rescue someone, but says the course will help her feel prepared if she does come across someone stuck in the surf.
I saw it online and I thought it was awesome, and I also figured out I was probably going to die trying to save someone, so better safe than sorry.
Kayla says they are able to spot people from the water who may slip under the radar.
I mean, we're just out there all the time, also at breaks where there is no lifeguards, all the way down the beach where the lifeguards aren't necessarily as well. And a lot of time when you do get pulled out, you're getting pulled out behind the rocks, no one's going to see you, so we're the only ones really around.
Grant Bradley says the course teaches surfers to think like surf lifeguards, to always be on the lookout.
If you're a surfer, just keeping being observant, and kind of thinking like a clubby really, and stepping in, and just these techniques about getting people on boards, you don't really think about it until you're instructed at a course like this.
Courses are run in the evenings from 5 till 7. There's some coming up in Piha and Mangawhai.